Hello everyone and welcome into Coach Craig Sports. This is the MLB DFS Core Pick video for Tuesday, August 5th. If you're joining me for the very first time, first of all, welcome in. Second of all, this is how today's video will be structured. We go over my core picks. It's going to be 5 players in total, 1 pitcher, 4 hitters. That's going to be based on a combination of past performance versus their respective opponent, as well as some recent history. And then after that, we'll get moved over to my cheat sheet and talk about my top GPP teams to stack for Tuesday's slate overall. And then in the morning, I'll be listing my early morning weather report that have any game that does have a double-digit chance of rain or higher. And then I will also be listing as many of these starting lineups as I can get to throughout the afternoon and early evening. So definitely make sure that you are checking up down in that comment section so that you do have the most up-to-date and relevant information as possible. But without further ado, we're going to get right into the core picks. We're going to start off at that pitcher position with Shota Imanaga of the Chicago Cubs. He's at $8,900 at this point in time. He's averaging just under 28 fantasy points per game on the season. Obviously, he was banged up a little bit earlier on in the year, but he goes against Cincinnati Reds for today's slate. He has good history versus that Cincinnati Reds team in the past, although it is pretty limited history at that. So definitely do like his upside in this matchup. He had one start against them last year in 2024 where he had 45 fantasy points. If he can put up anything close to that at $8,900, it's going to look like a really good play overall. And if we look at what he's done so far in the season, he got 8 wins, 3.25 ERA. So both those are very good things. Once again, averaging just under 28 fantasy points per game at $8,900. Definitely do like his upside on this slate overall. But there are quite a few pitchers that are viable as well. So feel free to mix and match at that pitcher position, especially if you are playing multiple lineups. Then we'll get moved down to our hitters. We're going to start off at first base with Freddie Freeman at $3,700, averaging just under 11 fantasy points per game. He's going against the St. Louis Cardinals. Miles Mikolas is the expected starting pitcher for them, and he's 8 for 18 with 3 home runs versus Miles Mikolas in his career. And if we take a look at what Freddie Freeman's done as of late, he's currently on a 6-game hitting streak. That doesn't include Monday since that game is still going on at the time of this recording. Got 4 multi-hit games, 2 home runs, and 4 double-digit performances during that stretch. So some pretty good history as of late. If we look at what Freddie Freeman's done on the season in totality, 308 batting average, 12 home runs, 60 RBIs. Once again, averaging just under 11 fantasy points per game at $3,700. Then we move down to third base with Jose Ramirez of the Cleveland Guardians. He's $4,100, averaging over 13 fantasy points per game. He is going against the New York Mets. Clay Holmes is the expected starting pitcher for that Mets team. He is 1 for 1 versus Clay Holmes in his career. And Jose Ramirez, technically 5-game hitting streak. That game was still going on at the time of this recording. And he's probably going to go hitless on Monday, unfortunately, since he was 0 for 4 and then got intentionally walked in extra innings, as long as the Guardians are able to pull that game out. But he does have 4 multi-hit games during that time stretch, 2 home runs, 5 double-digit performances, so he's been performing really well as of late. Definitely do like his upside once again in this matchup. And if we look at what he's done so far in the season, 302 batting average, 23 home runs, 61 RBIs, once again averaging over 13 fantasy points per game at $4,100. Then we move down to our paydown option, and Joey Ortiz, he's at $2,600, averaging just under 7 fantasy points per game on the season. Been a very, very up and down, like second full season for him. But he goes against the Atlanta Braves, and Joey Wentz is the expected starting pitcher for them. If we look at what Joey Ortiz has done as of late, he's got at least 1 hit in 3 out of his last 4 games. 2 multi games during a time span, 0 home runs, but he does have 2 double-digit performances and 3 games of at least 9 fantasy points. So if you're looking for a cheaper option out there, Joey Ortiz fits the bill, and you have the ability to play him at shortstop, second base, or third base. Could be a pretty interesting play overall. If you're rolling it out of Brewer stack, definitely does make some sense to sneak him in there. If you're looking for somebody that's just a little bit cheaper to plug in your lineups, definitely a good option just in general. And if we look at what he's done so far in the season, 216 batting average, 7 home runs, 37 RBIs, once again averaging just under 7 fantasy points per game at $2,600. And then last but not least, we're moving down to the outfield with Jackson Merrill. He's $3,200, averaging just over 9.5 fantasy points per game on the season. And he goes against the Arizona Diamondbacks. Ryan Nelson is the expected starting pitcher for them. He is 4 for 9 with 1 home run versus Ryan Nelson in his career. He has a modest 3-game hitting streak. That doesn't include Monday since that game's still in play. If we go back even further, he's got at least 1 hit in 12 out of his last 13 games. But during that 3-game hitting streak, he has 2 multi-hit games, 1 home run, and 3 double-digit performances. So he's been doing really well as of late. Obviously, since coming back from injury, he's looked really good. 266 batting average, 8 home runs, 47 RBIs. Once again, averaging just over 9.5 fantasy points per game at $3,200. But with that being said, if you go with the 5 players that I do currently have listed here, you have $12,500 remaining, just over $3,100 remaining per player. So looking a little bit more like a balanced build the rest of the way from here. Obviously, 4 hitters from 4 different teams. Stacks will play a pretty big role just in general, so you definitely don't have to play all 4 of these hitters together, especially if you're going out and playing multiple lineups. So definitely feel free to mix and match as you do see fit. But with that being said, we'll get moved over to my cheat sheet and talk about my top GPP teams to stack for Tuesday's slate overall. So I only have 3 listed here, and one's kind of like more up in the air maybe. So definitely feel free to mix and match as you guys do see fit. But we're going to start off with the Toronto Blue Jays. They're playing against the Colorado Rockies out in Coors Field. Should be an attractive matchup there. And they're going to be going against Anthony Molina, who has very minimal experience at the major league level, as well as versus this Blue Jays team. So definitely do like them in this matchup overall. Then we have the Dodgers, who have hit Miles Mikolas very well in the past. So feel free to get to any of those Dodgers hitters just in general. Then last but not least, we have the Boston Red Sox. They're going against Ragenberger, and he's making his Kansas City Royals debut. No history versus him in the past, so if you want to bet on some upside with that Red Sox lineup, definitely feel free to do so at the same time as well. But with that being said, that's what I do have in terms of my core picks as well as top GPP teams to stack for Tuesday, August 5th. As always, if you have any questions related to MLB DFS, be sure to drop them down in the comment section below, and I'll get back to you as quickly as possible. And then once again in the morning, I'll be listing my early morning weather report. They'll have any game that does have a double-digit chance of rain or higher. And then I will also be listing as many of these starting lineups as I can get to throughout the afternoon and early evening. So definitely make sure that you are checking up down in that comment section so that you do have the most up-to-date and relevant information, especially as we do head into lock. But with that being said, if you are brand new to my channel, checking it out for the very first time, or have yet to subscribe, please consider doing so. Definitely would appreciate it. It helps to build the community that we're trying to build here at Coach Greg Sports, which is one that's truly for you, the viewers, helping you with your DFS. Right now we have MLB DFS in terms of the core pick videos, typically Monday through Friday. There will not be a video for this Thursday, just kind of one of those smaller, weirder slates just in general. So definitely do apologize for that, but definitely be sure to check out all the other videos throughout the week, including my CFL DFS video, which typically comes out on Wednesday. So definitely feel free to check that out if that's something you're interested in as well. And then last but not least, if you're interested in sports betting, if you're interested in prop betting, be sure to check out the links and promo codes down in the description below for BetUS and Prize Picks. If you're a brand new user on either one of those sites, when you sign up, make your initial deposit, you will get a first match deposit bonus. For Prize Picks, it's 100% match up to $100. And then for BetUS, it's 125% match up to $2,000. So some pretty great opportunities to be had out there. If you have any other additional questions related to that whatsoever, feel free to reach out to me, whether it's down in the comment section of this video or on Twitter at Coach Greg Sport, and be more than happy to help you with that journey as well. But with that being said, that's all that I truly have for today's video. Definitely do appreciate each and every one of you tuning in. Definitely means a lot to me. I hope that each and every one of you have a great rest of your day and some pretty good luck in MLB DFS for Tuesday, August 5th.